Welcome, sweet friends, to the channel Frugal Money Saver. My name is Emmy. My husband is Paul. We're so happy you have joined us today. For those of you who are new, we're an early retirement, debt and mortgage-free couple living in the state of New York, and this channel will just show you how to live a full and abundant life while spending less money. Today, we're going to talk about the word no. If you checked out the thumbnail, title of our video, empowerment comes when we learn to say no. And we're going to be talking about that a little bit. We're also going to show you a skill I learned to empower us and our food bill and our health. And we're also going to share with you how Paul went absolutely wild and spent so much money on my birthday. Stay tuned for that one, and just a whole lot more. The first thing we want to start with is understanding the word empowerment. Empowerment means basically to have control, to have power. The first thing we're going to talk about is empowering ourselves with skills that make us independent. One of those ways that will be coming up in future videos is gardening, to grow your own food. It is so important if you can, even if you have just a patio outside your door, you are able to grow food. And we have so many videos on our container gardening, and we'll be doing it again this spring with you. Another way we can empower ourselves is to go outside our comfort zone just a little bit. And one way that Paul and I did that was to learn to make sourdough starter. It took me four times to get it right. And I finally did. And I'm going to tell you what the secret is. Just a little bit of rye flour when you're feeding your sourdough starter in the beginning. I started filming our sourdough journey, making it, and then by the second or third batch, I was like, this isn't working. Number 4 was the charm for us, but there are so many wonderful sites out there that will teach you how to start a sourdough starter. Those of you who have a sourdough starter, this sourdough discard sandwich bread is the best, hands down. I will link the original recipe down below, but I did tweak it as you knew I would. If you do not have a sourdough starter, nor do you want to get involved in sourdough, I am going to link a video down below and also at the end of this video. Simple Amish white bread that just uses plain yeast. Either way, I encourage you, please, start making your own bread. Learning how to make bread will allow us to say no to the high price of these artisan breads that are being sold in our grocery stores. It is so easy, I promise. So let's just get the dough started. This is Raya, my sourdough starter. And she has been going strong since June of 2023. So last year, she's about 8 months old. And as you can see by all those beautiful bubbles, this is just taking her out of the refrigerator. She hasn't even been fed yet. And the great thing about sourdough is you can use mature discard to make beautiful, delicious breads. And that's what we're going to do today. Because a sourdough starter needs to be fed. It needs to be given flour and water to keep it alive on a regular basis. So if you just kept feeding it, you would have buckets and buckets of sourdough. So you have to discard some of it, but we never ever throw it away. And I'm going to show you a bread today that is so simple and delicious. It's an easy sourdough sandwich bread. One thing that's super helpful is a scale, a digital scale, because weighing ingredients when you're making bread, the bread just comes out so much better. We got this for $1.99 at Goodwill several years ago. So the first thing we're going to do is take our beautiful sourdough and we are going to measure out 100 grams of this discard. It has not been fed. You can still see we have a nice amount in here. We're going to feed it, let it sit out, and then I'm going to put it back in the refrigerator. Tear the scale again, get it back to 0. And I'm going to add in 250 grams of just tepid water, a little warmer than room temperature. Perfect. I'm going to give this a little mix and mix it in with my starter. I'm going to tare the scale, bring it back to 0 again, and I'm going to add in 350 grams of all-purpose flour. You can make the whole recipe with all-purpose flour, but I'm going to use a little bit of whole wheat. And we are at our 350 grams of white flour. We're going to tare it, got it back to 0, and we're going to add in 150 grams of whole wheat flour. And I added 150 grams of whole wheat flour. So altogether, we have 500 grams of flour. I'm going to bring it over to my KitchenAid, and you can do this by hand too. And I'm just going to incorporate the flours and the water. That's all we're doing right now. We're going to just incorporate it, put it on for about a minute. I literally just used my dough hook and mixed this for 1 minute. Now I'm going to just cover the bowl with a damp cloth and set it aside for 30 minutes. So this just sat for 30 minutes. All it did really was let the flours absorb the water. In this little cup, I have 5 grams of salt, 15 grams of sugar, and I have 7 grams of yeast. And I am adding yeast even though this is a sourdough bread because we want to bake it today. And I'm also adding 60 grams of cooled melted butter. You can absolutely knead this by hand, but I am going to use my KitchenAid, and I put my dough hook on and I'm going to knead it for about 6 minutes. This just finished kneading. After 6 minutes, you can see how clean the bottom of the bowl is. This dough is so easy to work with. I encourage you, please. So here we have our beautiful dough, and I'm just going to take it, put it in a little ball just like this. Put it in our bowl. We're going to cover it again with a damp towel, and we're going to let it rise for about 2 hours now. That's it. We're done. So I'm going to set this aside for now. The second way to empower yourself is to say no to consumerism. No, I am not going to fall into the trap that bigger is better, that more is better. The more money that you spend on someone, the more you love them. These are all silly lies that people can confront you with. We get bombarded constantly from social media, from family, from friends, from advertisers, walking into a food store, a clothing store. More, more, more. Say no. And once you can get to the point where you can say no to mindless consumerism, now I'm not talking about things you need. We're talking about all the things that society says you need. As most of you know, my birthday was this past Wednesday. We had a lovely low spend birthday. Our son came over, Paul cooked dinner, we had cupcakes. Wonderful. It was so much fun. But Paul is a little different than I am. When it comes to birthdays, he really wants to bless me with something maybe that I wouldn't ordinarily buy myself or whatever it might be. I told him the only way we were going to do this is if we went to a thrift store. And he was like, no, go pick yourself out some new clothes or whatever you want. And I'm like, I really don't want that. I agreed to shop with him in a thrift store. We're going to turn around this camera and show you the crazy amount of money that my husband spent in a thrift store for me for my birthday. Here you go. Paul let me loose in a thrift store and in Goodwill. And this is what we came out with. First item are these 3 precious wooden Disney vintage ornaments. It even says the Walt Disney Company on the back. You never see that anymore. They are pristine. Look at these, 35 cents a piece. Then I found this amazing cookbook. I have seen this in the past and it was always full price. What can I bring? Southern food for any occasion. Life serves up. And it is a Southern living book. This book is literally brand new. When I opened the cover, The pages are actually stiff. First of all, it's got amazing recipes, and almost every recipe has a beautiful picture to it. And you know how much we love the South. So this was a total win. Price of this, can you see that? $2. We are hard on placemats, to say the least. We eat home all the time. These are 8 beautiful yellow sunflower placemats, brand new. They look like they have never been used. Goodwill's price, $2.99. And then this beautiful, beautiful top. Let me open it up. Look at this, flowy like I wear. Beautiful little ruffle collar. 3/4 sleeves. I'm thinking a yellow camisole under this would be absolutely beautiful. Look at these gorgeous metal buttons. The shirt looked brand new. A whopping $3.25. So my total birthday haul was $10. I was kidding when I said Paul went berserk and spent so much, but for $10, I couldn't have asked for better gifts. Honestly, I was so pleased. He was so happy. He bought me these treasures and I will use them. They are practical and they're just a blessing. How amazing was that under $10 haul? Paul was so happy to be able to bless me, and I was thinking, I got all this for $10. Those of you who do not shop thrift stores and those of you who do not shop tag sales or Goodwill, really save your money. Start shopping secondhand. You will save so much. Now we're going to just turn the camera around quick, get back into the kitchen, and check on our bread. Our dough rose for 2 hours. Look at this. Oh, it is so big and beautiful. You can see how beautiful and easy this is to work with. Now, all I'm going to do is just take the dough, put it in a rectangle. Does not have to be perfect. When I tell you this bread is so easy, I'm not kidding. I'm going to take one side in, fold it, take the other side in, and fold it. Now, all I'm going to do is tightly roll it. Just like this. Just pull and roll. Pull and roll. See these little ends? We're going to take them and tuck them under, just like that. This is a 9x5 loaf pan that I greased. I'm going to put our little loaf in there, and I'm not going to cover it now because I want it to rise over the top of this pan. So we're going to let it sit. It's probably not going to take very long, maybe 30 minutes or so, but we just want it to come up over the pan a little bit. So we're just going to let this sit. The bread rose over the rim of the pan beautifully in 30 minutes. My oven has preheated to 350 degrees. I'm just going to put in 3 little slices just so when it rises, it doesn't split. And we're going to bake the bread for 40 minutes. While the bread is cooking, we are going to just talk quickly about another way to empower yourself. And that is saying no to commitments that rob you of your time and your money. And this is one we're not always comfortable saying no to, especially if someone asks us to do something. We struggle with this, Paul and I, but we have come up with a system that works for us. We are busy all week, honestly, and our weekends are very, very precious to us. So when we see our weekends coming up, if someone asks us to do something, we check our calendar right away. We have learned to limit our weekend commitments to just one. And it's usually something very fun. So that's a plus. But if you're noticing things are creeping into your schedule, people wanting you to go places, or you yourself looking at 3 activities on the weekend and saying, I want to do this, this, and this. Once you start prioritizing, and that's the big word here, once you start prioritizing, you will become empowered. You will learn to say no graciously and with confidence. By learning the word no, we gain not only empowerment, but peace and contentment and health, because less anxiety, we're going to be happier and we're going to be healthier. These are just some simple hints and tips that you can do to really regain your power when it comes to your time, your finances, your decisions. When you grow your own food and when you create your own food, you are giving yourself the control of what's in it, how you want it made, how fresh it is, and overall how much more healthy it is. So let's get back into the kitchen and see how our bread turned out. This just came out after 40 minutes. Look at how beautiful. I'm gonna take one of my butter wrappers, just go over the top of it. Be careful, it's hot. Now we're just gonna let it cool in the pan for a little while until it releases, and then we'll cool it on a wire rack. The bread cooled completely. Look at this loaf. Let's see how the inside is. Look at how it cuts. This is the perfect sandwich bread. It is just perfect. It holds its crumb. It doesn't fall apart. Look at how high and beautiful. You can't compare this to a loaf of bread in a store. So again, empower yourself. Learn how to bake some bread, please. And I will also share our Amish white bread that uses no sourdough starter in the link below and at the end of this video. Our question of the day: what is one thing that makes you feel empowered when it comes to your finances and money? Please share that down below with us, because it not only encourages us, it encourages our viewers as well. Before we end, we're going to ask you to do something for us. If you are subscribed to our channel, please go back and check to make sure you're still subscribed. We have been getting comments and we've been getting emails saying, I was subscribed to your channel and I wasn't getting notifications. I looked back and somehow they had gotten unsubscribed. Please go back, make sure you're still subscribed, hit that notification bell so you get notified every time we make a new video, which is every Tuesday and every Friday. And if you haven't subscribed yet, come on in, be part of our Frugal family. We'd love to have you. Please give this video a big thumbs up. It helps us so much. Thank you again for spending this time with us. We ask you to be well. We ask you to be safe. And above all, we wish you blessings. Until our next video, may God richly bless you.